provisional voter registration for the 2024 general elections. The EC says this includes the 7,780,447 new voters who were registered during the limited voter registration exercise.
Please to note that the total number of valid voters on our register to date adds up to 18,681,366. That said, it is important to note that all these figures mentioned are provisional, and they may change, although it may be very insignificant after the mop-up exercise and after the exhibition exercise later on in August. Mr. Speaker, the provisional voters register as we speak is ready, and we have written to the parties and asked them to submit their hard drives to enable us to copy the provisional voters register for their use and information.
Now, still with the Electoral Commissioner addressing the floor of Parliament, she's clarified that she's not responsible for security during the elections. The EC says it is often called upon to ensure peace in the electoral process, which is not solely their mandate but that of the Ghana Police Service.
It is important to note that whilst we engage under the platform of the Election Security Task Force at all levels, national, regional, and district, the Electoral Commission is not responsible for security. Very often we've heard that the Electoral Commission is responsible for security, and we would like to emphasize that this is a mandate of the security agencies. We do not believe that they will cede any aspect of that to us. What we do is to collaborate with them and to provide them with details of all our centers, provide them with details of our printing arrangements to enable them, work with us when we are, and work with us and protect the ballots, especially when we are transporting these ballots to the regions. We also use their armories to keep our ballots and sensitive materials. Beyond this, honorable members, the police have full responsibility for security before, during, and after the elections, and they take all their security decisions without recourse to the Electoral Commission.
Now, still addressing Parliament, he says that reschedule of the voter exhibition exercise is on the 20th of August through to August 27, 2024, due to the mop-up exercise slated for August 1st to 3rd.
Honorable members, we intend to undertake a mop-up voters registration exercise in the first 3 days of August. That is from the 1st to the 3rd of August 2024, to allow persons who turn 18 after the May 29th voters registration exercise to register to vote. The mop-up exercise will be held in all our district offices across the country, including the newly created one district. Honorable members, in view of the mop-up registration exercise scheduled to take place in the first 3 days of August, we have rescheduled the voters exhibition exercise from the 15th to the 21st, from the 15th to the 24th of July to the 20th to the 27th of August. The exercise will be held in over 40,000 polling stations across the country. In addition to exhibiting the register in all our polling stations, we will also exhibit the register electronically to allow citizens to check their registration details on their telephones for a small fee.
However, the Commission has announced that it will waive the filing fees for women and persons with disability by 25%. The EC says it is maintaining the filing fee for presidential candidates at 100,000 Ghana cedis and that of parliamentary candidates at 10,000 Ghana cedis.
No new CI will be laid before Parliament ahead of the 2024 election. As such, The Commission relied on the current registration CI, that is CI 91, to conduct the voter registration exercise. We will also rely on our current election CI, that is CI 127, to undertake our elections. Again, the proposal to bring the election date forward to November will not be implemented in 2024. However, the Commission intends to forward the memorandum making this case to the Attorney General for its implementation in 2028. Additionally, the Commission will continue to use the indelible ink for the 2024 general election. We intend to maintain the filing fees charged in 2020, and we will maintain the 100,000 charge for the presidential candidates and the 10,000 Ghana cedis charged for parliamentary candidates. In addition, we intend to waive the filing fees by 25% for women and persons with disability. We believe this will go a long way to enhance the participation of women and persons with disability in the general election.
Now, still on the floor of Parliament, minority are calling on the state to have a word for the Akufo-Addo-led administration due to poor work in Parliament. Ministers who were scheduled to appear before the House to answer sectorial questions by members of Parliament were absent, and the minority has expressed their displeasure. Ministers who were to answer questions filed by MPs did not show up, thereby leaving those work undone. John Abdullahi Jinapo, Minister of Land and Natural Resources, Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa, Minister of Local Government and Decentralization, Minister of Energy Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo, Minister of Interior Henry Quartey, and Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection Dakwa Newman. The absence of these ministers triggered the MP of Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, to express discomfort of the minority over the situation. He added that it doesn't foster well to the progress of Parliament oversight responsibility.
For an explanation in respect of each minister, lands and forestry, where is his whereabouts, local government, where is his whereabouts, and then energy, where is his whereabouts. You can't give a wholesale explanation to all. What was the explanation? There are 3 different ministers who are supposed to appear before the House. All of them cabinet, and all of them do have supporting ministers of state and deputy ministers. We don't find your explanation satisfactory. In any case, cabinet has not started yet. We monitor you and we follow you. So why are you using that as a school? The Honorable Minister for Employment is supposed to be in cabinet. He has crisis he's managing over labor strikes and disputes, which must be of interest to cabinet. What you are doing to resolve all the industrial strikes which is affecting productivity. So offer a better explanation, Mr. Speaker.
The Deputy Majority Chief Whip Honorable Alex Tete had told Parliament at the beginning of the proceedings that the ministers were at a cabinet meeting, hence their absence. This explanation did not sit well with Haruna Idrisu and cautioned that such behavior of ministers choosing cabinet meetings over Parliament must be eschewed. The MP for Tamale Central, Muntala Mohammed, who had filed an urgent question to be answered by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo, expressed his disappointment.
I filed an urgent question. An urgent question, it ceases to be urgent any longer. This is the 2nd week. And I've seen that many colleagues of mine also filed urgent questions. And these are the excuses they are given to us. For me, it makes the argument stronger that we need to be working towards insulating the legislative arm from the grip of the executive arm. Because some of the ministers are also members of Parliament. So in performing this duality of responsibility, which one do they take important?
The 2nd Deputy Speaker, Andrew Esiama Amwa, who presided over Parliament, however, cautioned ministers to avoid disregarding the duties of Parliament for other businesses.
Once we program the minister there should be that correlation, that the minister will surely make time to come and respond to members. Other than that, it's a bit problematic. So please, I'm urging the whips, especially the government's whips, to take this seriously.
Away from Parliament, the Volta River Authority VRA expects minimal impact in its next phase of water spillage from the Akosombo Dam. The VRA has announced a possible controlled water spillage from the dam in coming weeks. Volta River Authority VRA expects minimal impact in its next phase of water spillage from the Akosombo Dam. The VRA has announced a possible controlled water spillage from the dam in the coming weeks. Director of Environment and Sustainable Development at VRA, Ben Saki, said the authority has begun extensive stakeholder engagement. The spillage, which started on September 15, 2023, resulted in the displacement of approximately 39,000 residents and the loss of farmlands. It was intensified for 3 weeks to protect the integrity of the dam. As a result, 8 districts across 3 regions, Esujaman, Shai Osudoku, North Ton, South Ton, Anglo, Ketu, Keta Municipal, Ketu South Municipal, and Adan East suffered severe flooding. There is more after the break. Education Division participated in the G7 Working Group on Education was organized to discuss the review, the draft recommendations and declaration of the Ministers of Education.
Cola. Enjoy all your moments and fun time with Angel Cola. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from that break. Now, in strengthening partnership in education and skills development, G7 Working Group on Education has been organized to discuss and review draft recommendation and declarations.
With important international players, we have the G7 Working Group on Education. I guess you all know what the G7 stands for. The G7 stands for the 7 most important Western economies in the world, which is Canada, United States, Germany, France, Japan, name them all, Italy, UK. So this is I think I have mentioned it 7. So they invited us to a working group on education because they are interested in strengthening the collaboration and cooperation with Africa, and therefore a text welcoming the African Union's designation of 2024 as the Year of Education and supporting increased collaboration between the G7 and the African Union was signed together with them, and we hope that this will create avenues for more resources coming from the G7. We also had a roundtable consultation with Canada on TVET and pathways to youth employment. The Canadian Minister of International Development came to Addis Ababa and met with different departments. We met with our department. We discussed a lot around discussion relating to TVET, promoting TVET on the continent, particularly for girls, people with disabilities, young people in rural areas, and people living in refugee camps. And finally, the roundtable concluded with the Honorable Minister Ahmed Hussein from Canada announcing a grant of 10 million Canadian dollars to support Tibet programs in the African Union and the ST department, and another 3.5 million.
Now, still in education, Kumasi Technical University has celebrated its 70th anniversary, and Chancellor Dokufo narrated the journey of how the institution has become the best technical university in Ghana. Gabriel Jumo revealed the hard work of staff in Kumasi Technical University and praised them for their commitment to bring out this excellent students who are now making the school proud.
An academic institution. However, in the midst of all these challenges, we have remained steadfast in our ambition to become world-class, research-oriented, and technically focused university. As we celebrate our platinum jubilee, it is appropriate to reflect on the hallmarks of world-class universities that inform our aspirations. These institutions are distinguished by their unwavering commitment to excellence, innovation, and societal impact.
Meanwhile, GNTC General Manager Kwabna Edu Amwabin had this to say at the celebration.
There's too much theory in academia. There can never be too much theory. Trust me. What is theory? Theory is only abstracted practice. People have looked at practice over time and looked at the trends and come up with theories out of what they've seen over time. That's one way of theorizing, isn't it? So it's basically abstracted practice. And what is practice? Practice is implementing theory. Most people do things without even knowing that there's a theory behind the things you do. From academia, my first step was into banking. And sitting at the executive committee of one of the banks and listening to experienced bankers talk about the problems and the way they do things. What I actually noticed was that they know what to do, but most of the time they didn't know why they were doing what they were doing. And so when the assumptions underlying the theory that they are implementing, which they probably don't know, changes, then they struggle. So when you don't understand the theory behind the practice that you are engaged in, and you don't know the assumptions underlying those theories, whenever there are changes in these assumptions, practitioners struggle. And I'll tell you, I was writing a paper on the banking sector challenges before I left banking. And I would have said it's purely because I felt too many people in that sector knew.
Now in health, as part of efforts to enhance quality healthcare delivery for all across the country, Shalina Healthcare's Ghana Limited organized a knowledge-sharing platform for medical doctors to present unique case report and compete for various awards. The Chief Executive Officer of Shalina Healthcare Ghana Limited expressed their commitment to work with Ghana's health sector to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
The Shalina Rising Stars Award is an annual event organized by Shalina Healthcare in Ghana, designed to recognize and celebrate the clinical talent of resident doctors. This competition provides a platform for doctors to present unique medical case reports and compete for various awards. Participants from numerous teaching hospitals and medical institutions across Ghana took part in several stages of the competition, where winners receive awards and recognition within the medical community. This initiative fosters knowledge sharing and professional development among resident doctors, enhancing the overall quality of healthcare services in Ghana by celebrating clinical excellence and innovation, the Shalina Rising Stars Award plays a crucial role in encouraging and recognizing the hard work and expertise of Ghanaian medical professionals. The Chief Executive Officer of Shalina Healthcare Ghana Limited, Vikram Jit Singh, explained the reason behind the initiative, aiming to collaborate with Ghana Health Service to the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
To admire the medical fraternity, we always look forward for the opportunity to build the nation along with medical fraternity. What we do, we collaborate with them, and we right from the grassroots level, we provide a platform called Rising Star. This is a platform where medical doctors have opportunity to come forward and show their clinical acumen and knowledge on the medical field. This platform gives the opportunity for the future runners of medical fraternity in the country. So yeah, we are looking for a holistical growth of the medical department. So in this kind of competition, across every department, people participate and they bring up their expertise, their clinical experience, which is also enriching for the audience. The delegates who are attending these events, they also get enriched with the clinical experience and expectations, what is the real life scenarios they discuss, and they get knowledge about it. So it's like a cross learning between different departments happening. And I think one of the comment was coming that, we all must look forward for it, because cross pollination of ideas and learning happen at these forums, and which also enrich the clinical experience for every doctor, irrespective of their department.
Believe in quality healthcare at affordable price and to available everywhere. So as a part of quality healthcare, we want to encourage upcoming doctors. Here we have a resident doctor, who are senior doctors and junior doctors. So Shalina Rising Star act as a knowledge sharing platform. So since last 2021 we are doing this. So this is the third edition of Shalina Rising Star. So this act as a knowledge sharing platform where we can our doctors, they share their latest case studies and latest condition with other doctors, so that it will improve the healthcare facility of the Ghana. So
up next is business. To begin, Bank of Ghana has assured the general public of its commitment to promoting the integrity and stability of financial system in Ghana.
The Bank of Ghana has assured the general public of its commitment to promoting the integrity and stability of the financial system. The regulator said that its collaboration with the respective law enforcement agency will continue to clamp down on illegal deposit-taking operations, and all offenders shall be dealt with in accordance with the law. This assurance comes at a time when the Ghana Police Service, in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, effective today, Friday, July 19th, closed down Dek Nok Investment, located at Nungwa and Ashaman in the Greater Accra region, in accordance with Section 20, Clause 2 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016. Dek Nok Investments was engaged in unauthorized deposit-taking, contrary to Section 6, Clause 1 of Act 930, according to the Bank of Ghana. The Ghana Police Service is conducting further investigations into the operations of Dek Nok Investment. The central bank said this in a statement.
Now, the National Petroleum Authority, in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, and the Ministry of Energy, has held the 2024 Ghana International Petroleum Conference here in Accra. The conference brought together regional and international petroleum downstream experts, leaders and innovators to share insight and guidance on industry best practices, governmental and regulatory policies, operational strategies, innovation, financing and investment. The 6th edition of Ghana International Petroleum Conference was held under the theme, The Petroleum Downstream, Building a Future for Growth, Efficiency and Sustainability. reflecting the industry's commitment to a sustainable and efficient future. The conference hosted a diverse range of stakeholders, including representatives from government, oil and gas support services, energy technology firms, mining and logistics companies, energy policy makers, climax ministers, financial institutions, investors, ESG advisors and researchers. The conference aimed to provide a dynamic networking platform for stakeholders in the global oil and gas industry.
NPA America say one of the very forward-looking policies, very important policy. Ukita cylinder, gas na sanwó and one is what they call exchange point. Now what for gas wo now what they call. Who hears all the general trains and medium cylinder back we and one and use your football. To her, ye was cylinders. Cylinders near ye idea. Ye hear say Diaba be due or no, would the choir, no one for cylinder recirculation model one only say gas ye a cleaner source of cooking than firewood and charcoal in the account. Now penetration and to go on ye use cylinder gas for cooking, LPG no for cooking and course through the bracer. Program ni boa na cylinder usage na akoso unim say firewood ye and charcoal you effect health implications for the body na maritime and fra na the bia na smoky ni fumes yi na ekomo ni kunko fo bebre they are buying a drink ne manfo ne this policy aba beto ne be boa say private sector for so betia ase na omo be infrastructure na ba ni etimidia a program me gidi say was sensitization e cost bebre na me gidi so say was say buying dani na was say cost one year free private sector for ba e betena table no ni cost dwene kwan ya betimi afaso na program na ye better both for the government, for the private sector and for the Ghanaian people, and we'll continue to do that. So there will be some implementation and say
Now, the National Peasant Farmers Association says 80% of its members have been left out of Phase 2 of government initiative Planting for Food and Jobs. According to the association, farm input and other logistics are yet to reach members.
The National Peasant Farmers Association says 80% of its members have been left out of the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs. According to the association, farm input and other logistics are yet to reach members. The national president of the association, Wipia Awal Ado, requested the Greek minister, Brian Champon, to come to their aid because as of June, they observed that 80% of farmers have not been registered and their farms have not been mapped, which is a source of worry to them because the rainy season has also started. As a result of that, the national president of the Peasant Farmers Association said the members are calling for farm inputs.
Now, the Commissioner for the Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, His Excellency Ambassador Josepha Sako, has addressed the media on the outcomes from the African Fertility and Soil Summit and called on Ghanaian government to implement measures to fight climate change. She said this at the 45th session of the Executive Council meeting here in Accra.
Concerning the soil, the question that the lady from Ghana asked me, I think we get a lot of reports from member states about how their soil is. That's why we brought this component of the soil health into this declaration. So with this, when we start implementing, we have to look at the response that we have to give to this case that you are putting on the table about Ghana. For the moment, African Union, I don't think so, but my director is here for agriculture. I don't think we have gone, have engaged with the Ghanaian government to see this particular important issue of the soil of Ghana. But with this declaration that was endorsed by all our member states, so we can put it on board. We can, when we start implementing the soil health, it will be one of the components that we have to do to get the right solution. But my director, maybe we have more more response because it's more technical issue, and they are the one that really interact mostly with the commission, the experts. Maybe they have the question for that in case of Ghana when we're elaborating the soil initiative with FARA. Maybe there's a lot of input we can get from my technical directors that are here. Concerning the illegal mining, those also are all packages that we are going to put. We are going to put this, in that component of soil health. We are going to look at all this. We are going to map up what it's been doing, what is this soil, all this we have already taken, into consideration when we are trying to see this Nairobi Declaration on Fertilizer and Soil Health. This is so.
Anna 0540-583-999.
Kings Drive Ghana Limited. Hard work rewards.
Welcome back from that quick break. In entertainment tonight, Ghanaian music producer Kwabena Ofe Kwada Nkrumah, popularly known as Kobe, won his intellectual property right against the Confederation of African Football after a copyright infringement lawsuit that began in 2018.
The Confederation of African Football, which is Africa's football governing body, was found guilty of failing to obtain legal permission before using Spikey's beat of his music titled Comfa Noche for promotional materials for the 2018 CAF Awards. According to Spikey, CAF's act was a total disrespect for his intellectual property rights, causing him to lose money from any license of his music for commercial use.
Circulating Sting's song and using it for his song, and Sting then now owns 85% of royalties from his song, and so it just made me want to learn more about copyright and figure out what I'm permitted to do and not permitted to do, because I could be on this side as well. I could use somebody's sample in my beats and then get into trouble. And so it's one thing that's made me very wary when I'm producing. I don't take something that belongs to someone unless I know that I'm not going to do anything commercial with it, or it's maybe just a proof of concept. But if I'm creating something original that I want to sell, I try as much as possible not to use anyone's sample.
He claimed that before suing CAF, he called them out in 2019 for copyright infringement. He noted that even though CAF had sent an email admitting to using his work without his consent and had apologized, they did not reply to him when he made a demand for compensation.
He enjoys them. He said he'd heard it being used to advertise the CAF Awards, and so I should go check it out. So I went to Twitter, searched for the CAF Twitter page, and there it was. Male Footballer of the Year, Male African Footballer of the Year.
Now away from entertainment to some international stories, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa opened a new parliament yesterday, nearly 2 months after a historic election resulted that reshaped the country's politics and led to the formation of an unprecedented multi-party coalition government.
Ramaphosa's speech to lawmakers at Cape Town City Hall, a replacement venue after the fire that gutted the Parliament building 2 years ago, marks the official start of operations for the new coalition, which brings together at least 10 parties to govern Africa's most industrialized country. Mr. Ramaphosa said that despite his government's political differences, it was united in tackling South Africa's three main problems: an unemployment crisis, crushing poverty and inequality, and the failure of state institutions that have been eroded by corruption and neglect, for which Mr. Ramaphosa's party, the African National Congress, has been largely responsible. The May 29 election marked a turning point for South Africa as voters, frustrated by these three issues and more, delivered the worst result ever for the ANC, which lost the majority it had held for 30 years since the end of the apartheid system, characterized by racial segregation and white minority rule. Mr. Ramaphosa's speech marked the start of what South Africa calls the 7th administration, the 7th government formed since the country was liberated from the racist apartheid system in 1994, and the people of all races were allowed to vote. The speech was largely a call for unity across political lines and was generally met with applause from lawmakers, not surprising given that many of the parties represented in parliament are now part of the governing coalition, including the Democratic Alliance, which was once the ANC's most bitter political foe. This means that South Africa also has a new official opposition, the newly founded MK Party led by Jacob Zuma, a former South African president and ANC leader who turned against the ANC and became Mr. Ramaphosa's fiercest critic. To address this situation, Mr. Ramaphosa said his coalition government, called the Government of National Unity, would prioritize growth and job creation by creating new opportunities in almost all sectors, including mining, agriculture, small businesses, and green energy, while eliminating corruption and red tape. He gave few policy details in a broad-brush speech aimed at uniting the country after a hard-fought and divisive election that puts it in an unprecedented position.
That's why we draw curtains on this week's News Hour on TV Africa, the talking drum of Africa. My name is Nada Kwashon. Do enjoy your weekend.